we are now looking at target 5A.4. I can calculate the probability of mutually exclusive events by adding simple probabilities. Okay. Our mutually exclusive events, right? The definition of mutually exclusive events are events that cannot happen at the same time. Basically, your and statement doesn't exist because you can't be both of those things. One big example is it's Monday and Tuesday. Right? That doesn't make any sense. Those two things cannot happen at the same time. Being Monday and being Tuesday are mutually exclusive events. Okay. So the key word for mutually exclusive events is or. Okay. And or tells us to add. So remember, in the last two things we looked at in 5A.2 and 5A.3, we had and as our key word, and tells us to multiply. So knowing what and tells us to do and what or tells us to do are very important. All right, we are going to use the die and the spinner to find the following probabilities. Rolling a 5 or a number less than 4. Right? So again, this is going to be the probability of getting a 5 or tells us to add, and then I'm going to find the probability of a number less than 4. So if I'm going to get a 5, right? Well, the probability of rolling a 5 is there's 1 5 out of 6. My number is less than 4. Well, it's anything to the left of this 4, so there's 1, 2, 3 numbers less than 4. Again, you can use a calculator to add. This is 1 6 plus 3 6 is 4 6. But if you use your calculator to add, so you can just, again, do 1 divided by 6 plus 3 divided by 6, it will automatically reduce the fraction for you. So if you like to practice adding and reducing fractions, feel free. But if you're struggling, I would use the calculator just to make sure, especially on quizzes and tests, make sure you don't lose your points by just having an adding error. Same thing for number 2. If I'm rolling a 2 or a 4, right, I'm going to get a 2. So probability of 2. Or tells us to add. Probability of 4. Well, the probability of 2, there's 1, 2 out of 6 options. And we're adding here. And there is 1 4 out of 6 options. Again, you can just type this into the calculator, and 1 6 plus 1 6 gives you 1/3. Okay, number 3, rolling a 1 or an even. Same type of thing, right? The probability of 1, or tells us to add. For even, right, I have 1, 2, 3, right? 2, 4, and 6. Or, sorry, we're just writing it down now. The probability of even. Getting ahead of myself. The probability of 1 is 1 out of 6. Plus the probability of even, right, like I said, 2, 4, and 6. There are 3 of them. Again, feel free to use a calculator to add 1 out of 6 plus 3 out of 6. Adds and then simplifies to 2 out of 3. For number 4, spinning a B or a D. So again, I'm going to do the probability of B or got my plus sign. So if I look at my lovely, now I'm looking at my spinner, how many B's are there? There's 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total. Plus, how many D's are there? There's 1 out of 5 total. And 1/5 plus 1/5, right? I then have 2/5. All right, looking at number 5, spinning a consonant or an A. So the first thing we're going to do is a probability of a consonant. Plus and your consonants, right? Well, A, E, I, O, and U are vowels, so our consonants are the letters that aren't A, E, I, or U, or O, forgot that one. So B, C, and D are consonants, right? So there's 3 out of 5. Right, B, C, and D. And then we're adding to that. How many A's are there? Well, that's easier. There's only 1 A out of 5. So 3 out of 5 plus, I said 5 and wrote 4. Hold on. 3 out of 5 plus 1 out of 5 ends up being 4 out of 5. All right, number 6 is a little bit different. Or sorry, 6, 7, and 8. Rolling a 1 and spinning a C or a D. So, rolling a 1. So the probability of 1. And tells us to multiply, right? That's going back to what we did yesterday or whatever day you worked on it. Spinning a C. And then or tells us to add a D. So what is the probability of getting a 1? The probability of getting a 1, well, there's 1 on a die out of your 6 options. times the probability of getting a C, well, there was one C out of 5 options, plus the probability of getting a D, well, there's one D out of 5 options. Okay? The most important thing is we have to break order of operations first. These things are coming from the same thing. They have to be grouped together. So we're always going to put parentheses around addition. Parentheses around addition. Always. Okay. So if there's a multiplication and addition in the same problem, you have to put parentheses around the addition. That way we can just throw this problem in our calculator all at the same time. Again, if you really want to practice your adding and subtracting fractions, feel free. But throwing in a calculator is easier. I'm not even typing this in right. So I'm typing it in exactly how it looks, right? 1/6 times parentheses 1/5 plus 1/5. You cannot forget the parentheses. You'll get it wrong. All right. And we get 1/15. If I were to type the same thing in without parentheses, because I know a lot of you don't believe me sometimes about these things, right? I get 7/30, and that's not the right answer. So make sure we're careful with that. Okay. Same thing with this next one, rolling a 2 or a 3 and spinning a vowel. So a 2, probability of 2. Or add 3 and multiply a vowel. So the probability of a 2, well, there's 1 2 on a die, plus the probability of a 3, there's 1 3 on a die, out of 6 total, times a vowel, right? I'm not going to scroll back up, but you have your picture in front of you. Our only vowels there are A and E. And so there is 2 out of 5. Then again, before I type this in my calculator, I need to add the parentheses around my addition. So I have parentheses 1/6 plus 1/6 times 2/5. I get 2 out of 15. All right, last problem. Rolling a 5. Probability of 5. Or means to add. I don't know why I switched to orange. That's okay. Number less than 3. And means to multiply. Spinning a B. Or, right, we're keeping going. Or means to add. And E. Let's do this green. All right. So then just doing our probabilities, the probability of 5, well, there's 1 5 out of 6 numbers on our die. And then we have our adding. Number less than 3, so we have to think about which of our numbers are less than 3. Well, 1 and 2 are less than 3, so there's 2 of them. So 2 of our numbers on our die out of the 6 of them. Now we're multiplying. The probability of a B, well, there was 1 B out of the 5 numbers. We add again. The probability of E, well, there's 1 E out of the 5 numbers. The last thing we have to do, remember, is parentheses around addition. So I have 1 6 plus 2 6 and parentheses times 1/5 plus 1/5. And that whole thing comes out to 1/5. All right, that is it. Go ahead and start working on your activity.